Good afternoon to one and all. I would like to introduce a most successful entrepreneur, a business consultant, Dr. Sumit Aggarwal, sir, founder and CEO of Soberbio Consulting, on delivering an expert webinar on reinventing entrepreneurial mindset among students post COVID-19. He is a seasoned business leader with abilities to set up, structure, drive and scale business in a global market with more than 2 decades of experience with the pioneer companies like Deloitte, Patni Computers, Aon Hewitt in multiple domains like pre-sales, strategic deployment and development, HR consulting, business continuity management, solution design and implementation, change management, actuarial assignments, pension funds, digital transformation, and Six Sigma projects. He has worked with many Fortune 500 companies for their multiple projects and their implementation. He is member of one of the leading institute of world, MIT Tech Review Global Panel. He is a member of an entrepreneur from Harvard University. He is a member of the Cambridge University, and he is member of more than 10 startups and many more mid-sized segment organizations. He has a vast experience to develop the business, to support the business, whether it is a startup or a mid-level enterprise. Sir, we welcome you behalf of whole Gitanjali family that you came to Gitanjali virtually, because now the technical and online world is going on, and you are going to deliver one of the very important topic which is related with the entrepreneurial mindset which is happening or going on among the students. With this, I would like to invite our director sir, Dr. Vikas Misra sir, to give away the welcome address and officially inaugurate this expert webinar. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Dr. Sumit sir. Hope you are good. Namaskar, sir.
Absolutely fine. Namaskar.
Yeah. Hope you are fine. Your family is fine in this situation.
Thanks for asking. Everybody's fine.
That's great, sir. That's it. So, friends, it is indeed my privilege and honor on behalf of Gitanjali Institute of Technical Studies, GITS, to welcome Dr. Sumit Aggarwal, sir. I'm sure we now need no further elaboration about sir credentials. Sir, it is indeed our honor, and we are extremely thankful to you that you have spared your very valuable time in spite of all your busy schedule. We are aware, Arvind was telling me that you are occupied a lot, but still you have given your time. We are deeply honored, and we can't have a better expert when it comes to the theme of the talk today on the entrepreneurship thing, which is very relevant in today's context. And as we all now know by the profile of Sumit sir, he is a stalwart in the area of entrepreneurship, giving mentorship to the startups, to the young budding minds. And as we all aware that he is being associated with the various forums of MIT, Harvard, and with the current situation, we all are aware the situation which across globe is facing. And when we talk about in context with particularly with India or in Asian context, the situation has changed a lot, and probably now we are very ideally more pitched towards what Honorable Prime Minister has given us a call about Swadeshi or becoming Atmanirbhar. The Made in India concept or the Make in India, all those drives or initiative which has been taking place since last 4 or 5 years, probably we are now at a junction where the stage is set for India. We all are now aware about in terms of the attitude or the approach of G7 countries or the major developed nation towards China. So there is a very strong possibility that India will emerge a very major manufacturing and technological hub. And then if we talk about in our Indian context, finance minister has given lot many inputs, lot many supportive measures with the economic packages, where lot has been talked about promoting the SMEs, about the small scale sector, which is a very good thing when it comes to the technical mind, when it comes to the managerial mind. Because whatever situation is right now, where there is a movement of workers, movement of, there is a large migration of population, those who are going back to their root. So there will be now very huge employment opportunities where respective state governments are exploring, creating at their respective state, at division level, at headquarter level, at rural level. So there will be a lot many startup activities which will be coming upon. And as in technical institute, or for a youth, or for the young budding technical person, or a managerial student, it is always good to develop that mindset of entrepreneurship, because now government is ready to hold their hand. Only thing now what we need as a professional, as a student, that we should have that curiosity, we should have that open mindedness. Until unless we are not very vigilant, there are two ways of seeing a thing. A normal person can think any problem in a terms of problem situation, but when it comes to any analytical mind or a professional, if we analyze that what can be the possible solution, what can be the thing where I can come into picture, that proactiveness has to be there, that agility of mind has to be there. So if we are developing those agility, those creativity in ourselves, then stage is all set for us. Probably few skills which I see is very important, I will say creativity. Then effective networking is very important when it comes to a startup, when it comes to entrepreneurship. How we are engaging with the professionals across globe, in what way we are communicating. And it's not only should be the our motive that we should communicate with the professionals, those who are directly linked to our thought process. We have to diversify our vision. Communication has to be very important. Obviously people skill is also one of the very important thing, which comes after a certain position. But still, if we are having that people skill, that helps us a lot. Networking is a very important thing. I'm not going to take much of the time, since Dr. Sumit sir is here. He is the expert of this field. We all are here to listen, sir, words of wisdom. Without any further delay, once again, I welcome Sumit sir to GITS on this virtual platform. Thank you very much. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving us the idea about what is all about entrepreneurship, and to introducing sir in a bigger form. Really, definitely, it is a play. It's a pride moment for our institute, because I am associated with sir from last a year, right? And I have seen many videos of him, his interview on different news channel. I have seen, and I have never heard the person like him. So definitely it will be very useful for our student and the faculties and the audience who are present today, because he has a vast experience, develop the business, and to give the ways that how we can make our own enterprise systematically. So with this, I again welcome and request Dr. Sumit Aggarwal sir to take ahead this session so that it can be beneficial for us. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thanks so much. First of all, first thing first, I'm really apologetic for the fact of the delay, but matter of fact that we have moved from offline to online, and the digital infra is not equipped to support such kind of things at times, and we got to live with it. we gotta live with it. We have to just buffer some kind of time for these kind of technical dislocations. So thanks so much for first of all inviting me, and it is my due pleasure that I'm able to exhibit or demonstrate what exactly I have learned from my experiences, and I wanted to share some kind of things which I've been helping lot of cohorts. So I'm going to be presenting a presentation which is going to probably tell you what exactly is the current state, and from where, from current state, how we can drive a road forward, and what exactly is the future state going to look like, and what how we can prepare ourselves to transition into that future state. Okay, and this is a very relevant topic of today, because we should be oriented about it. That's the reason I'm doing a lot of sessions with a lot of education institutions across the globe on this particular topic. So now I'm going to be sharing my screen, and then I'm going to be orienting what exactly I have in for you all for today. Okay, so can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can
Hello.
see.
Perfect.
We can see.
Perfect. In this Google Meets, we cannot have a small window where I can probably see everyone. So okay.
The voice is not clear. Voice is not clear.
Is it better now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, now it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So the topic for today is reinventing the entrepreneurial mindset, right? So it is not only for students, for all of us. All of us, we have to think like an entrepreneur. So I am going to be starting this presentation with my next slide. Where is my slide? I guess again this is Google Meets is killing us. Okay. So can you see this screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we can
Yes,
see.
sir.
Perfect. So I'm not going to take much of the time on the current state because everybody is aware. I'm going to give you a little snapshot of the current state. So we say 2020 is the year of virus. State is in an economic depression. Why this depression? Because 27 trillion of USD of the wealth has been eradicated out of equities and derivatives and other areas. So that particular wealth is 10 times the GDP of India, and the huge wealth. And I was doing some kind of economic depression analysis of the globe, and I came down to know close to 10 million plus bankruptcies have been filed there in the US, and equivalent amount of bankruptcies have been filed by by the China also, and Europe is also in a bad state, and India Q3 is going to be worst. So this is the worst. I always start with the problem because I firmly believe if there is a bigger problem, we have got a bigger opportunity to solve it. Okay, so that's the reason I'm going to give you a little bit of more data-oriented problem snapshot, so that we should start thinking objectively how to solve this problem. So it is also a state of uncertainty, and why uncertainty, and what is the difference between risk and uncertainty. So I'm going to also explain you this. And risk is the area where we know the probable outcome, and we can probably do some kind of permutation combinations, create some kind of matrix in order to mitigate that outcome. So we have got the decision, we have got the budget, we have to figure it out how bigger is the impact and how fast we can recover and get out of that depression or the impact. Okay, but it is a state of uncertainty. And what is uncertainty? Definition of uncertainty is that when the outcome is absolutely not aware, we are absolutely not aware what exactly is going to happen in the world today, down the line, tomorrow, day after, 3 months. We are absolutely not sure. So, and this particular dislocation has happened across the globe. So across the globe has been crippled with the uncertainty. They are absolutely not sure what exactly is going to happen tomorrow, right? So that is because of that uncertainty. There's lot of impact which has happened on the decision making. If you talk about societal, economic, or governance related decision, the quality of decision has actually come down. which has definitely impacted a lot of use cases. When we talk about use cases are nothing but the areas on which this COVID-19 dislocation has impacted. So you might have experienced lot of out of home activities have been impacted. When we talk about out of home, it is travel, it is tourism, it is petroleum, it is retail. It is retail. Lot of the use cases have been impacted, and we measure the performance of a economy or that respective area by a term called PMI. And PMI is Purchase Manager Index. Purchase Manager Index means in what area the people are purchasing, that particular area is grown to X level, right? If you people are start putting money into the automobiles going to grow. If start putting money on real estate, they start acquiring the real estate is going to come down into the boom. When they're going to start putting money on to acquiring the cabs or doing some kind of shopping towards the healthcare or other things, that area is going to grow, right? So that is called PMI. But the PMI has absolutely gone towards the downside. So PMI of India was 49%, it has come down to 5%. So it means the people have got the purchasing power, but the spending has not marginally, but it has gone exponentially shrunk down from 49-50% to 5%. It means 35% of their the purchases have been either put on hold, or they are not buying at this moment. If they are not buying at this moment, it means that particular area of economy has been put on stall, it has been it has been put on hold, right? So I also say one thing, that forecast is gone. Okay. So
Sir, sorry to intervene in between. Your camera is slightly went upper. Now it's fine.
So I also say that forecast is gone, right? So what does it mean? It means that we are also been taught of creating some kind of budget reports, expansion reports, how our economy, how our financial year is going to look like. We start doing the projections, especially into the education domain, not only the education domain, in every domain, that how the sales, how the performance of that particular house or economy is going to look like 3 months, per quarter, per year is going to look like. We do a lot of forecasting, right? But in this environment, the forecast is absolutely gone. You cannot forecast. You cannot just see what the world is again going to look like in next 3 months, because it is a state of uncertainty. So forecast is gone, right? So there's so much dislocation, so many problems, so many things. We have to take some kind of decisions, and there has to be some kind of methodology, right? So in order to help us navigate through this dislocation. And what is that methodology? And there is definitely a methodology, and methodology is called UDA. And UDA is a methodology, and it is more of a tactical methodology being used by tactical forces, because when tactical forces go to the overground, the outcome of that particular battle or that particular area is absolutely uncertain, and they're expert in dealing with uncertain situations, right? So that is the reason that I always take this methodology and deploy that in all economic or societal or governance kind of area, that this is the time of a tactical you got to be more tactical and deploy a tactical strategy. You should start thinking in more of a UDA manner. What is UDA manner? So UDA manner is that, first of all, what we have to do is we have to observe what exactly is happening across the globe. When we are talking of the observe, what we have to do is not only we have to have a bigger preview of our observation. We have to see the economic, we have to also see the societal, and we have to also see the governance. Economic is we have to see that in our respective area, what exactly the world is moving is, whether there is a loss, there is a depression, what exactly is happening in the economy of in our area. Then we have to also analyze how big is that impact out of only, whether it is only our area is impacted or their other areas are also impacted. We start observing by taking some kind of data points, right? We also observe society, how this particular incident or event has impacted the lives of the people, right? We start those data points also. And also we take some kind of data points from the governance, and the way Sir said, there are so So many new packages have coming down. So bank moratoriums have come down. Rate of TDS has gone down, right? So there's lot many changes which has happened from the governance, from the political side, in order to at least give some kind of cushion to the people or to the businesses, right? So this is area of observation. We have to observe, we have to create an observation matrix with some of the data points, and we have to collect that data. So once we collect that data, then what we have to do is orient ourselves. Orientation is nothing but the interpretation of data. What that particular data set is telling us, what exactly data is communicating to us, right? There has to be some kind of logical interpretation from that observation. So we have to move from a projection environment to a more of a predictive environment. You know, projection environment is a kind of notional environment, but predictive environment is a very near to real environment. We start have a predictive environment with some kind of larger data sets from which we have observed ourselves. So once we have oriented ourselves, then it is going to definitely impact the quality and the velocity of our decisions, right? We have to take some decisions, right? And we got to make sure whatever the decision we are taking right now has to be a qualitative decision, and it should navigate not only to us, but to all the lives whom we are impacting into the direction of prosperity, or at least can navigate us through some kind of clear pathway, right? Once we orient ourselves, we have got interpreted that data, then we have to develop some kind of plan, which is, when I talk about the plan, it has to be a real micro managed plan, very small, short term, logically structured with your midterm and the longer plan. But it has to be a day-to-day plan, purely day-to-day plan. Not we should not create some kind of longer-term plan and start working on that. Rather, we have to do reverse engineering. We have to create day-to-day plan, day plus day plus day plus. Then it is going to come down to a 3 months plan. Rather, 3 months plan and come back to the day-to-day plan. It has to be a day-to-day plan, micro to macro, right? That has to be the planning. So otherwise the planning is into a different direction. We create a projections of 5 years and then achieve that. Rather, we have to achieve and that connect to the larger plan, right? So that is the develop. And after develop, then what do you have to create some kind of actionables and start going into that action department, and how we have to execute that. And for that, I also say agreement. Yes, we have got to take many agreements from different stakeholders, from investors, from political compliance and all those things. Make that consensus and create your UDA plan and execute your UDA, right? And you have to also create a small UDA plans in your on your business process flows and other workflows as well. So small micro level UDA plans, you have to do it. So this is the strategy which is going to definitely help you out in order to navigate through with a certain expected and predicted outcomes in the time of uncertainty. Okay. And I also say there's a caveat, and caveat is the ligometry. Ligometry means it is a Latin word. Okay. And ligo means shadow, and metry means matrix. So it means that you have to quantify the lack of knowledge. So it is very important for us that we start quantifying the lack of knowledge. Okay. And because there are going to be so many skill sets which are going to be obsolete. There are going to be so many skill sets which we have to acquire, right? So ligometry is very important. I also say forget competition at this moment. What you have to do is you have to forget the competition, because if some competition is highly funded and they are going into the right direction, and there is I am pretty sure that you are the technical students, you understand the concept of garbage in and garbage out, right? So if we're going to start following the competition which is going towards the garbage, definitely your direction is going to be garbage. It's very important you forget the competition for some time now. Okay. So once we have created this UDA, then what we have to do is I am going to give you a more orientation of the education environment as of today in India. So according to the NHRD survey, 218-19, we have got 500 million students here in India, okay, which is huge, and 10% of those students are in higher studies, and that means that there are 50 million students which are into higher studies, right? And if we are going to do some percent of 10% of progression or some kind of regression rate in next 10 years, we have to create new 500 million employable opportunities, and that is huge. That is bigger than the size of Nordic region. That is bigger than the size of European region, right? That's also bigger than the size of entire Australian region, right? So it's going to be very difficult for us to create these kind of 500 million new employable opportunity. Okay, so then what exactly is the pathway now? The pathway is nothing but the entrepreneurship. You just create not only the jobs for yourself, you also create the financial ability for others who are associated with you, right? That's the reason this data point is very important for us to orient ourselves, right? And apart from this, I always say there's definitely a difference between literacy versus digital literacy. We got to orient ourselves. So literacy rate India is at 75 to 80% at in today's environment, or in today's snapshot. But digital literacy is not more than 20%, right? India, we are still into a country where the computer sciences is not a mainstream subject. But digital literacy is very important because we are moving from a hybrid environment of offline to online. There's a lot of transitions which are happening, right? So digital literacy is very much important. It's equally important than the literacy, right? We got to enhance the digital IQ of the people. There's a probability a doctor like me must be learned. I've done so many degrees and stuff like that, but my digital IQ is poor, right? So in order to deal with the machines, in order to work with machines, our digital IQ has to be very high. Our digital literacy rate should go up, right? And digital infra, so the way I was delayed for 10-15 minutes, there was some kind of tech issues. This is nothing but the digital infra. We are doing so many digital transformations, right? The 5G is coming. We are talking about Internet of Things, where they're going to be entire world connected to so many devices, right? You're going to be having smart cars, you're going to be intelligent cars, you have got every device of the home is connected through the internet. So we require much better digital infra. India is still in the bottom 10 of the entire globe, right? Then we have to also orient ourselves what are the kind of obsolete skill set, because this is a very important area to orient ourselves, because we are, as an education system, we induct the talent. We what we do is we shape the talent who is going to create not only the livelihood of himself, but is going to also create a business value for millions of others, right? So there is a 10 years of plan. So if we induct somebody in 11th standard today, and I guess he's going to do the 2 years plus 4 years plus another 3 years, 8 to 9 years, he's going to be with the higher education setup, right? And till the time he's going to be out of that setup, most of the skill sets going to be obsolete. We have to start challenging the status quo. We have to have a very clear forward thinking to understand what are the skill sets which are going to be obsolete. So there was a study that 80% of the today's skill sets are going to be obsolete in next 3 to 5 years. But because of the COVID, their entire digital transformation has been accelerated. So these kind of skill sets have started getting obsolete right now. That is the reason that most of the biggest of the corporates are started laying off. They are not laying off their the talent who are well versed with the digital skills, but they are slicing off the layer, the people who are the dinosaurs, right? Who doesn't have the capabilities or doesn't have the skill sets of future of work, right? So obsolete skill sets, right? So once what we have done is we have this is the current state. From current state, we have created a roadmap to the future, and this is the fact set for our roadmap. What exactly is the future state? So this is the future state. The future state is 4IR is a new subject. So 4IR is, what is the 4IR? You have to understand it. 4IR is fourth industrial revolution. So we have seen 3 industrial revolution. Now we are navigating through the 4th industrial revolution. Whenever there is a new industrial revolution comes, right? So what it does, it disrupts the old skill sets, old method, old businesses. It kills the old method, it kills the old businesses, and it kills the old economy and give a birth to new economy. So what we have to do is we have to embrace the we have to embrace the fourth industrial. Okay, so we have to start learning about the subject. We have to impart those learnings to our stakeholders as well, to our contributors, to the students, everybody in that ecosystem. That 4IR is the new subject. So one, the 4IR is a new subject, digital learning is a new normal. If you're going to go back 8 to 10 years, distance mode of learning was not the mainstream. But now remote learning or digital learning is the new norm, right? We got to accept it. We have to equip ourselves because digital learning is a new norm. So we have to figure it out what exactly is the better infrastructure which is required for the digital learning. So in a traditional environment, we have spent so much capex building the biggest of the college possible, acquiring the acres of the lands, creating one of the best labs, procuring one of the best equipments to deliver experience-based learning to the students. But that is going to be a passe now, right? So digital learning is going to be a new norm. That is the reason that what we have to start is thinking out of brick and mortar. We have to have a hybrid environment, right? We have to figure it out that we had a lab. Now how we have to enable those labs digitally. So we have to start thinking out of brick and mortar, right? So in future state, fintech has also been accelerating. The adoption of fintech, as in financial methods of transaction, has accelerated, right? Especially into the tier 2, tier 3 cities, and also it has been started being adopted by the people who have got a low digital IQ, right? The small vend guys, small chai wala guys, small vegetable shop owners. Those are the people who doesn't have a much digital IQ, but they have also started accepting this new methods of transaction, because there was the evidence that fiat money, which is a currency, tender note, bills, have there were the evidences that there was some kind of contagion found in those currency notes. That has accelerated the method of doing the financial transactions by these new financial methods, which are more of a digital methods. It is not only the digital methods, the currency is also going to be a digital in some time. Digital currency. We were talking about the digital currency that was not the mainstream. Bitcoins and Ethereums, other currencies, that was not the mainstream. But now the digital currency is going to be also the mainstream, right? And this is one area. The other area is digital health. So digital health is the area that the traditional hospital of today, which is a kind of brick and mortar hospital in a proximity of 5 to 10 kilometers, is not going to be the future hospital, right? Future hospital is going to be a more of a virtual hospital. So if you're going to probably go back to your houses, so you can see what are the kind of medical products what you have in your house. So I believe there's going to be a first aid kit. There's going to be some other products which are related to BP or sugar testing. So every house has got these kind of products, right, which are health related products. But now the digital apps or fitness app are also going to be a new kind of digital health products. So every phone is going to be having an app which has got a leverage to have a video consultation with the doctor on board, e-visits, pharmacy buying, all those things. So digital health is going to be a new norm. So everything is moving digitally. So what we have to do is we have to also figure it out how we have to embrace this remote culture. Okay, the way we are talking to each other, this is a remote culture. We have to embrace this remote culture. We have to adopt and embrace this new digital method of communication, right? So again, I say in this future state, I also say caveat is that we are moving from digitizing work to working digitally. So if you're going to probably see the last 8 to 10 years, so there was a lot of work which was being digitalized, right? Automation. But now we have started working digitally. Initially, we were automating the processes, workflows, and use cases, but now we have started working digitally, right? Method of work has becoming digitally. The way we are communicating, right? The way I'm presenting the presentation remotely is a method, right? Initially, it never used to happen. It was not a mainstream. It is a mainstream now. So because of these so many changes which are been accelerated, so I always say we have to we have to start being more empathetic. We have to move from hardware to hardware. We have to choose values over vision, because the world is in a state of depression. People need a clear direction. So we have to think from a heart. So again, create a more of a digital work experience as well, right? So if you're going to probably see the organizations like Google or Deloitte or Accenture, they spend a lot of money in work experience, in employee engagements, right? So Google gives an example that I give a free food, I give wonderful facilities, I give free insurance, I give blah blah blah, these many things, right? That particular area is gone now, because that was a part of an experience. That experience is not going to be relevant anymore. So we have to think that how we have to enable that digital work experience for not only for the students, but for all the stakeholders, either employees or for clients as well, right? So this is the future state. Now I tell you that how academia can be a catalyst in this particular movement, right? And what is the entrepreneurial mindset, how we have to inculcate it, and what has to be the direction in which we move in order to create this kind of mindset. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to foster entrepreneurial DNA first of all. So when I talk about the DNA is a hardwired in us. So we have to have this kind of thought process first inculcated in us. Then it has to be inculcated into the student. And how we inculcate that? By embracing the gig economy, by embracing the future of work and future of skill. So gig economy is, you can study a lot about the gig economy. It's more of a performance based economy, more of a skill based economy. It's economy where everybody is an entrepreneur by yourself. This economy has proven a lot of traction. For example, Uber, every driver who's driving the cab is the entrepreneur by in itself, and he is a skill based and performance based pay. The kind of number of hours and number of kilometers he's going to drive, he's going to be paid for that. So that is the gig economy, right? So a lot many other organizations or the areas have already embraced the gig economy. It's the time that you should start teaching the gig economy and the skill sets and the future of work to foster the entrepreneurial DNA in the students, right? If they're going to understand that what exactly is the skill and how I can make money out of this skill, right? So there are so many freelance jobs, there are so many freelance projects. So if you're going to start thinking in this direction, how they can connect the skill and how they can monetize that skill at this moment. And as an academia, as an education institution, it's very important for us to foster that, and to not only to foster but to enable and to encourage that, right? So that is a point one. Point two is what we have to do is we also enable the entire ecosystem so that our students start not only thinking in that direction, we should also take the responsibility of moving them into that direction. So what exactly is required in order to build a business? So I say there are only three things which are required in order to build a business. One is talent, one is technology, and third is capital. So talent, as an education institution, it is our responsibility, it is our duty, and it is our job to create a qualitative talent which is positioned to create more value to the economy, right? Now there are two things. One is technology and capital. And what we have to do is we have to create that ecosystem. We have to create a lot of stakeholders, bring the technology companies in our campus, in our education system, so that they start investing in technology and start giving some kind of real-time applied methodology projects to the students, right? So once they have an access to forward or latest technologies and some kind of industry projects in a live environment, this is going to definitely help them to build on the skills of project management and again how to monetize through that project, right? And third area is capital. So capital is very much important, and there are so many funds available today, right, who are actually incubating the talent, right? So lot of IITs have their entrepreneurial academies. They have raised funds from the angels. So lot many funds are available. What I wanted to communicate to you is, if you wanted to set up this entire enable system, you can definitely take my help or reach out to your peers or whatever it is. But it is very important. Talent you have, but technology and capital, you have to bring that onto your campus, right? The third point is that what we have to do is we have to start incubation. We have to start incubation of the free ideas, right? We have to have that kind of environment where the students start thinking freely out of the boundaries, because today's idea is going to be a tomorrow's decacorn. Decacorn is 10 billion business, right? So idea is going to be converted into a minimal viable product. From a minimal viable product, it is going to be a product. From a product, it is going to be a full-blown businesses, right? So have that kind of critical thinking induced in your work environment, that student starts thinking freely, right? So I tell you that I was a part of Deloitte Consulting. I have worked with some of the projects in the McKinsey labs as well. So we had thinking labs there, right? So it's a lab where you can go do the brainstorm exercise. You can think critically. So definitely there is a methodology in order to think critically, in order to think in a direction of design thinking, in the entrepreneurial top of side of thinking, right? Solution type of thinking. So thinking enablement is definitely a process. It's definitely a science, and it is definitely requires an environment in order to structure that type of thinking, because we have to once hardwire that DNA. Thinking is very much important, right? So the other point is transitions. So right now the quality of a campus or quality of an education institution is being gauged by the kind of companies come down and take the talent from, shop the talent from that organization. So every education institution I go, they flaunt that in our campus Google is coming in our campus, Deloitte is coming in our campus, ICIC is coming in our campus, all these multinationals coming. And that has become a kind of selling point for not only the education system, but to give a reasonable employable opportunity to the students once they are out of their education system. And that's a very good area. If you're able to probably bring one of the best industries to your campus and demonstrate this is the quality of talent what we have produced, please take this talent from us, right? This is the best thing what we have done. But now it is a time that we have to take one step more. What we have to do is we have to start thinking that not only the company is going to come down to shop from us, we have to also incubate the business. Tomorrow we should be in a position to communicate that Facebook kind of business has been incubated from this particular institution, right? That has to be the thought process, and that has to, for this we have to enable all those things. By this, I guess I'm going to be signing off. I'm absolutely open for all the questions, right? So if you have certain questions, I'll be very happy to answer right now. And I guess I'm able to explain that what exactly is the current state and how we can move to the future state and how we can foster the entrepreneurial DNA in the students so that they should embrace the post-COVID-19 and equip themselves to be a better value creators for not only for themselves, but for all the stakeholders.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Sumit sir. I think you have done from your side, right, sir?
Yes.
It was because I was hearing each and every sentence and the word of yours. Definitely, it was really a learning kind of session for each and everybody,
Thanks.
including me, because the
Thanks
things
so much.
are the things and the world is going to change in today's scenario. Because of this pandemic, the things has completely got changed. Everything is the process has completely got changed.
True,
Everybody
true.
is doing the things, but the way of doing the things has got changed. So definitely, it
True.
will be very beneficial for those students who are having the entrepreneurial mindset, and for any faculties or the staff or the top authorities of any institute, because that is the way by which we have to move ahead. I would like to tell you that in our institute, also one of the leading brand Adani is coming for the campuses. So
Okay.
we are also tied up with some of the leading brands. Many more has to come in the future. It is not about inviting the companies. It is all about creating the talent, right?
True, true,
So
true.
that is our focus area, and because of that reason, we are inviting the people like you, so that the mind frame of the student has got transformed, and it can be beneficial for everybody. With
Are
this,
you able to understand what I said, in a logical manner that what
for a
has to
student,
be done, right?
I think because as a teacher or the faculty, or at a experience level profile, definitely we have understood each and everything you have told, right? For
Perfect,
student
perfect.
perspective, might be थोड़ा बहुत उनको ऐसा लगा होगा कि heavy है, because the quality what
I'm
you
agree.
have, sir.
Hmm.
I just request you, because I have introduced you a very less, right? Because
Okay.
there are many things about you which I have not told to the
No
audience.
worries.
So I just wanted the brief of yours, because your career path and the growth what you have achieved, and really what you have done for the society. If you will explain in brief, so that it will be very beneficial for the audience, because they will get the idea that whom they are listening, and what kind of personality you are, sir. Because
Sir,
it is.
I don't blow my trumpet, but I just wanted to tell you one thing. It, it has never been a easy road, right? So I was definitely, I'm still studying. I'm always a student, and of not only your life or for a lot many areas. I'm still learning. I am not achieved what I want intend to achieve. But yes, as far as my professional snapshot is concerned, I have done a doctorate in business management. I have worked with all leading organization. I was with Deloitte Consulting for good 6 and 7 years. Prior to that, I was with Mercer Consulting. Prior to that, I was Hewitt Consulting. And in this consulting, I got an opportunity to work with BFSI. In BFSI, I worked with Morgan Stanley. I worked with Wells Fargo. I worked with Merrill Lynch. And in insurance, I worked with Aetna, Citigroup, Prudential. In private equity side, I have worked with Texas Pacific Group, BlackRock, Blackstone. In retail, I have done some kind of projects with Walmart, JCPenney, Target, Tesco. I have also worked with retail products, which is PepsiCo, Johnson and Johnson, Nestle. So in automobile, I worked with Daimler Chrysler. I have also worked in sustainable area, which is energy, water, and waste. So I have been a part of quite a few cohorts of Harvard alumni entrepreneur. I'm also part of COVID response team for economic diplomacy from the International Monetary Fund. I'm also part of some of more cohorts of forward thinking in MIT Sloan, MIT Enterprise Forum, Cambridge. So that is a kind of my snapshot. So kind of couple of year back, I started my own consulting firm. I was into a corporate for good 15 years, 15, 16 years I spent in corporate. So so I was always thinking that how I can create add value for more of an Indian economy, right? So then I started a consulting firm with a clear vision to offer a qualitative advisory to small and mid segment businesses, because the advisory is very expensive in India, where the 90% of the economy is run by the family businesses. So they require advisory, right? The way you have got a DNA in the US kind of environment, the way it has got it has fostered the Silicon Valley. I wanted to give those kind of practices, methodologies, and strategies to India, because I always worked for $1 billion enterprise. So it's very important. The think like the way Google thinks, think like the way Apple thinks. Till the time you don't have that kind of thinking, you cannot just build that kind of business, right? So that was my vision, that I offer a qualitative advisory to small and mid segment businesses, because advisory is very expensive. Small and mid segment businesses are struggling. They cannot go to Deloitte, Accenture, PricewaterhouseCoopers, or Ernst and Young's of the world to, or IBM of the world, to get the projects done, right? So you cannot, as a small enterprise, you cannot hire a IBM or you hire a Deloitte Consulting to do a project for you. But 90% of the economy is run by the small businesses, right? If we are able to reform it, we are definitely positioned to create 2.7 trillion, not only to 5 trillion, but to 10 trillion, because we are able to create so many better processes, better methodologies. The top line is going to grow. You know, if they get the good advice, small business is going to get good advisory and the access to the capital, access to the better technologies. They are going to definitely grow to 10x or 20x from the current level. So that was my vision, and I have been quite successful in delivering my vision to small and mid segment businesses. I do a lot of pro bono work as well. I am on board of more than 15 mid segment and small segment organizations, where I advise them on their long-term strategies, long-term deployment plans, right? So this is what is my professional snapshot. And as far as my personal is concerned, I write in my the time when once I have in my hand. So I do a lot of business writing, you know, and that's my hobby. And I cook very well. That is also my hobby. So I spend a lot of time in kitchen. That's a good stress buster for me. And this is the kind of person I am. And if you want to know more about me, or some of the students want to know more about me, please come down, follow me on the LinkedIn, drop me a message. Would love to answer to their questions and answers. I'm very much accessible, very much active on social media. So please follow me on the LinkedIn, so that you are also aware of that in what direction we are working.
So thanks for your really energetic profile, right, sir? And I think it will be also beneficial for the student, and they'll get the idea whom they are listening today. So some of the questions we have got from the student, right? Uh, One question which I have got from the Kamal Pal Singh: million of the laborers who are affected by pandemic, will they transform towards digitalization and a digital payment?
So digital transformation is definitely required, right? There is no escape from it. You know, should understand the change management, right? If you don't want to, we will not evolve. So that area is going to be dead. Might have seen, you might have seen that Black is dead, right? Nokia is dead. So there are lot many companies. Why those companies are dead? Not only because of they have the one of the best infrastructure, they had the capital, their skill set was dead. Similarly, if we're going to say that millions of the workers have affected, is a time of taking the decision with velocity, so quality can be deferred. So for them it is very important to take the decision, right, and take a decision for betterment of themselves. They have to think that we have to live with it, COVID, and it is going to stay for the longer time. So they have to have an alternate arrangements for their own livelihoods, right? They are pretty aware that these are the things which are going to go down, which have already gone down, right? But they are also, it is our responsibility, so that we orient them. These are the new opportunities which are coming up, right? And we align them into new opportunities. So that is what I want to do. That is going to be my response on this question. Very interesting question. That's very good question. But yes, this is the way we are positioned to align them, mobilize them by
I
giving
think,
them.
sir, I think Kamal Pal has got the answer. What he has asked the question. One more question which I have got from one of the Mithul Daglia. In China, rural people also involved in the manufacturing process. In India, is it the possible by giving them a practical education and moving them towards advancement?
See, that is very interesting question. I mean, Director Sir have also said that we are going to move to more of a sustainable environment, right? Most of the people right now are dependent on China. Most of the people are dependent on China as for their ancillary projects, right? For their some of the supply chain projects, manufacturing, packaging, lot of. I mean, 80 to 90% of their job work is being China, but it comes down back to their different markets, right? Now the depend post COVID, because that is going to stay. The supply chains have been impacted, right? The movement of transportation, kind of transportation has been impacted. So world is also thinking towards being a more sustainable. So sustainable in terms of bringing out their own capabilities to manufacture. India has already taken the step thanks to the forward thinking Prime Minister of India. He has also started doing this. So the way I see it, India is the only alternative entire world have, not in terms of not in terms of only real estate, but in terms of real estate, in terms of trust. Trust is very important. Nobody trusts China much, right? But they trust Indian, because that is the reason that every big corporate has been housed by the CEO, which is Indian, right? You talk about Satya Nadella, you talk about Pichai, you talk about Indra Nooyi, you talk about Ajay Bang, you talk about Adobe, whatever the trillion-dollar organizations today we have on the Fortune 500, the Indian CEO is there. So that's the reason they are driving a lot of trust. So this particular movement is going to definitely happen in India. India is going to be a next manufacturing hub for the globe, and it is going to. I'm very optimistic that it is going to produce much better products than China.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable guidance for the above question. One more question which I have got from my team member. Very important question from Shelja Ranawat, ma'am. Most of us belong to a small two or three star cities and don't get enough exposure to watch the competition from students in metropolitan cities. What would be your advice to us so that we can meet the challenges and competition?
What I believe is that is an old thought. That was a thought then we were not connected with the internet, right? We never had the access to information, right? Today the world is boundaryless. Always choose information or over knowledge, right? Competition, if somebody is sitting into the tier 3 city, has got there are so many areas by that it is the responsibility of that individual to orient themselves. The information is readily available. Just Google it out, whatever the kind of information you require. Google out whatever the kind of job openings are there. So initially, once it was not a connected world, was definitely a disparity, because most of the infrastructure of the organizations were developed into the metro cities or wherever. From metro cities, it has gone to the area where their real estate was much cheaper and the talent was handy. So that is the reason. If I go to Bangalore, I see at least 40% of the workforce in Bangalore in IT organizations come down from smaller cities. You talk about Indore, you talk about Jammu Kashmir, you talk about the places like Pathankot. I've seen that. So I will definitely tell that is the responsibility of that individual. Go on Google. There is so much information available. Orient themselves. It is not the time where somebody is going to pat on your head and tell you have to do it. Now it is a time that we have to be more self-regulated, more self-reliant. We have to do our actions, which we should take the responsibility of that.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I think the last question, which is also from one of our faculty member, Latif Khan sir. What are the difference between education system of India and other successful countries, sir?
Trust me, Indian education system is much advanced, much advanced. The quality of education and the quality of talent being produced here is much advanced from wherever I go, wherever I talk. Only one difference is there, that they spend a lot of time on applied methodologies. So unless or until you don't apply your knowledge or information in some area, right, you will not be That's what I say. You have to make your hands dirty, right? If you're an engineer, make your hands dirty. That is the challenge in India, not from education prospectus, but from the delivery of that skill set prospectus. Education is very qualitative, but we we fear from making our hands dirty in that particular area.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I think one more last question, again, the last one. That the observation that it has been seen that in the manufacturing organization or many organization related with the large or small or medium kind of organization, that they have said that in this pandemic we have got losses and the manufacturing process could not on a ongoing positions. So the things are not in a hand. So many of the jobs has gone and salary cuts and these kind of increment cuts. So what kind of suggestion will be there for the entrepreneur in this situation as well as the employees who are having
I
this kind of mental setup that
see when we
what
are
we have.
when we are talking about the entrepreneur, so it is very important the way I explained UDA. Okay, they have to orient themselves, they have to observe themselves, they should know what is the current state and what is the future state. That's the reason I give you an orientation on that. By this they will have a much better clarity. That's the reason I'm telling, if travel has been impacted, we are aware of this fact that travel is not going to start like a year from now. The people in that particular area have to be agile enough to look out for a better and another opportunities. There are another areas which are booming up, right? We have to also figure it out that there are the certain area which are booming up, and we have to enable that. The velocity, it is said the survival of the quickest right now, it is not the fittest. So whatever the kind of capabilities you have, right, 5%, 10%, 2%, just deliver that capability. Not only the economy but the country requires that capability now. Don't just sit inside the home and be be kind of in an environment कि अब क्या होगा, क्या कर सकते हैं, कुछ नहीं होगा, you know. But if everybody is starting putting their 2-3% of their, you know, your intellect capital, whatever it is, whatever they have in the hand, right, I guess we are in a position to turn it around. But as far as the job loss is concerned, that is definitely, there are new areas. If you're going to see Amazon said that I am going to employ 125,000 employees in the gig economy area in India. So we have to figure it out. There are going to be some areas which are going to go down, except that. But there are certain areas which are going to go up. And that is also, that's the reason I'm saying the fourth industrial revolution. There is some reason to fourth industrial revolution. If we're going to go back like 10-15 years from now, that there are lot many things which were that movement prevalent, they were not there. Banking, see the banking, how the telling was used to happen. You have to be in a queue to take that cash, right? But there was a new machine came down which was a ATM, right? So the people lost jobs who were the tellers, but the people got the job who were the ATM installers, right? Networking people, there was a lot of transformation started. So always remember the pie of the size is going to stay same. There's going to be some slice is going to shrink down, some slice is going to grow up. Understand that by being more informed.
So thanks a lot. Thank you for answering each and every question which was asked by the audience or the student and the faculties. Definitely, it was a honored and the privileged moment for all of us that we are hearing you today. It was more than an hour session, and I know I think that is the positive impact of a pandemic. If otherwise, to call Dr. Sumit Aggarwal sir here in Udaipur, it might be difficult for us. But we invited you virtually. We invited you virtually, and it is possible for us to hear you and your thought process. It was really a very wonderful, highly wonderful session, and we enjoyed a lot. We learned a lot, and with this, I thanks again, and I invite our director sir to give away the vote of thanks and give the final remarks and the thanks message to each and everybody. Sir, over to you, sir, director sir.
Thank you, Arvind. Uh, Indeed, last almost 1 hour, it was a phenomenal. So hats off to the huge spectrum of ocean of knowledge which Dr. Sumit sir is having, and very highly impressed. Only thing I can say, one word: phenomenal, great talk.
Thanks
Sir,
so much.
you have touched the entire whole spectrum. So comprehensively you have touched upon the entire gamut of the entrepreneurship and the global world situation, what globe is facing, and what is the solution. More important, to have touched about the solution. Problem we all are aware, but the main thing is how to come out, how to take that challenges. That is what a very important thing which you have touched upon very nicely. A very new concept you have given of UDA: observe, orient, develop, action. Probably these four words itself is giving an entire solution set: observe, orient, develop, and action. Everything is being covered into these four words. And with fourth revolution after industry 4.0, there is a major shift towards complete digital manufacturing, what we call as digital manufacturing or smart manufacturing, model based engineering. Lot many terminology are being coming, but everything at the core is that we have to be more tech savvy, meaningful tech savvy, where we are having those IT infrastructure, that digital literacy. Very rightly, fully agree, we need to work upon in in enhancing the digital literacy of our country. That is going to be a very important, because obviously job cuts and all those things will be there, but then simultaneously if there is a cut, then that cut is being reflected in a plus at somewhere. Very classical example of ATM sir has given. If tailor has lost the job, then obviously entire huge workforce requirement for setting up that IT system of ATM installation, deposition has came up. So if there is going to be any certain decline in one vertical, that will be reflected in a major plus in a other side. Only thing is that we need to be more vigilant, more digitally connected. What sir has mentioned, digital IQ. Apart from common sense IQ, now one more IQ we have to work upon is the digital IQ. Very important thing which sir you have mentioned. Extremely thoughtful, knowledgeable session which sir you have taken. Personally, I am very much enriched with your celebration. Many takeaway I have taken, that what should be the course of action, in what way when it comes to academia as an vertical, in what way we have to more now, what are the extra skill sets which need to be imparted to our student. Definitely we will be working on that. Thanks a lot. One very important thing now, survival of quickest. It's about a very smart thing. Again, it is linked with 4.0. Survival of fittest is there, but now how quickly we adopt, how quickly we change our gear, and that has to be very seamlessly. It should not create that turbulence. It should not create that noise. It should be very smartly shifting gears from one mode to another. That is what the survival is all about. Our future is very good. Only thing is how much, in what way we are going to adopt, in how fast we are responding to the changing condition. Resources will come, obviously the intellectual, the world is looking, when it comes to intellectual power or the intellectual integrity. Sir has very rightly put forward the perspective that world is looking for leaders from India. Sundar Pichai, Arvind Them from TCS, all major giants are being headed by Indians. So that integrity, या जो वो एक संस्कार, that culture, the culture which we are bringing from our forefathers, that is what is also very strong pillar to us. So I'm very optimistic about the future. We need to just work upon on our capabilities. We have to identify our strengths. That SWOT analysis we have to do, and we have to work upon. Extremely thankful, Dr. Sumit sir, to you.
Thanks
And
so much.
and one assurance you have already given without asking us, that please be available to guide us, to mentor us, to our students. You have already given that open invitation to all of us that they can join. We can reach out to you anytime for getting assistance, for getting mentorship to you. We are really fortunate, delighted. Big thanks from all of us to you, sir. It was indeed
Thank you.
a pleasure and a real joy to hear you. Intellectually, we are enriched today. Thanks a lot,
Thanks
sir.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. If I'm able to create some kind of value for you and create some kind
Definitely.
of certainty in this uncertain times, right?
No, no, sir. We are highly motivated and we have got an insight and we have got also a roadmap. Our student,
It's
our
a roadmap.
secondary team.
I'm gonna give
Yeah.
this presentation. It is
Yeah.
actually a very crisp roadmap.
Definitely. I fully agree.
Certain kind of
Yeah,
in
yeah.
create certain kind of data points and just move around.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks
Thanks
a lot.
so much. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
Sir,
sir.
much.
thanks a
Thank
lot, sir. Thanks again
thank you so much. And see you. Right. Bye
for
bye.
accepting our invitation.